Well, we can get started. Welcome, everyone. Today we are joined by a panel of people who are very close to Frankie Porter. We've been covering his situation for some time now. Me and my co-founder, Tamara Freeman. There we are. Awesome. Awesome. It happens.
Okay. We are by any means organization. I do apologize. We sometimes do have some filibusters. This is our first time. Thank you guys so much for being patient. Can everyone hear us behind the stage? We got some really special guests coming on our show today. We are, again, as she said, we are by any means. That is Teresa Rogers. I am Tamora Freeman. We are a nonprofit organization that got started thanks to good old-fashioned COVID-19. We both have loved ones who are incarcerated behind prison walls, and that has been our passion for the past year and a half. We are thankful to be here. Tonight, we're here to discuss Frankie Porter. Frankie Porter was, he went to jail when he was 18 years of age, and he was sentenced to 228 to 528 years. No one was hurt. No one was killed. 30 years later, Frankie is still sitting in jail. He's a kid from Akron. Just like LeBron is a kid from Akron, well, guess what? Frankie Porter is a kid from Akron, except Frankie Porter is now 48 years of age. And so that's what we're here to talk about, where we are today and where we hope to be shortly. Okay? So we have some very special guests. I'm going to start with John. Hey, John, how you doing?
How y'all doing? I can't hear anyone.
You can't hear anyone?
Trying to figure this out.
Okay. And we also have Richard Roderick. Hey, Richard, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
Okay.
Can anyone hear me?
We can hear you.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out this audio situation.
Okay. And we also have Frankie's sister, Twyla. All we're asking is, hi, Twyla, are you on mute?
I can hear you now.
You can hear us now? Okay, great.
Hello, Richard. Hello, Teresa.
What did you do to get the audio right, John?
I just had the output set to, it was on the wrong output, I think.
I could barely hear you.
It was on the wrong output. Can you hear me now?
I'm on the wrong output?
No, I was.
Oh, I guess I'm on there because it's like I got it on my phone, so it's coming through the earpiece, not the speaker part. So
I like
switch
a very detailed backdrop.
So can we
go to a laptop? Okay.
No, I like your backdrop.
Twyla, can you hear us?
Twyla,
I'm gonna see if it'll be better on my laptop.
You look good. You're fine.
We can hear you. We can see you fine.
But I can barely hear y'all.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
How far away are you from your phone?
Like right there.
Okay, well, we want to get started for a little bit. So we're going to start with you, Mr. Lucas, but give us 1 second. We're going to kind of remove everyone.
You can call me John, please, not Mr. Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
That's my father. Bless the dead.
So we're going to play this here video if you give us a second, okay? Because we want everyone to kind of understand what this is.
I screamed out. I cried. And I told him, don't worry about it. And they said, in that 200 to 501 years, I thought that was a bit much.
Judge made a decision that he should never see the light of day.
My future got took away when I got sentenced. I don't see how you can take a life when the person ain't took a life, but they do it.
They were treated harshly. There's no doubt about it. Now 20 years later and 20 years older and 20 years more experienced, I look back and I say, yes, they were treated harshly. The question is, did they deserve to be treated harshly? The question is, do they get a second chance?
not 20 years later now, is it? Jesus, it's going on how many? 31?
Yeah, going on.
Crazy.
So we see from this film that you clearly have a good relationship with everybody. What what is the relationship that you have with Frankie and the other gentlemen?
Well, I met Richard and Charlie, who back in the mid 80s maybe. Richard's cousin was my little brother in the Big Brother Little Brother program, and that's how I knew him, and then met Donovan through those guys, and I just knew them as kids. So when they were painted as these, as the Cooler Bandits, I only saw them as kids, and I wanted to try to figure out, why they went on this trajectory, and I understood the system. It was a system designed to lock these guys up. So, and then I met Frankie actually when I first started filming in 2006.
Okay. And what compelled you to do the documentary on everyone?
Like I said, I didn't see them as Cooler Bandits. I just saw them as friends and kids that I'd known for, a long time. And, as our prisons were filling up and people were looking at these guys as a collective, not as individuals, and that they were predestined for incarceration, which wasn't true. But so I thought if I could make a film that showed the individuality and the friendship between all of them, it would speak to peel away the statistics and look at individuals, and maybe people will look at the system of mass incarceration a little differently.
Right. You recently did an update with Frankie and his family.
Yes,
what do you hope to gain with the new documentary?
Well, whatever Frankie and his family want to do with it. We're getting it on social media. He applied for clemency, which I believe, did that happen today?
Yes.
So, supposedly that when he files for clemency, if he does it in a manner, with a certain amount of time, then they have to look at everything that has to do with this case. So the more we can get out there, the more I think it could help his case. So,
right.
And I think it was also powerful to show. There's some scenes in the film, like there was a family dinner, and you can see some of his nieces and nephews who were, 4 or 5 years old at the time, and now 15 or older, and you don't see the aging, kind of the difference in the time passing with maybe Frankie that you do with his niece or nephew, and that's really powerful to see all that time that they missed with him and all the time he missed with them. And so that was another reason to do it, I think, just to try to get across the kind of time and how it's affected the family. His mother passed, and he wasn't able to be there. So it's difficult, toll on everyone.
Right. Well, during the documentary, you spoke with a lot of people. Is there anybody in particular that stands out that I wanted to see him freed?
Anyone that stands out, I can't speak to who would want him free more than
nobody in particular.
Yeah, no, I don't know who wouldn't want him free. Apparently, the governor and the
family, right?
Is about it. So.
Okay, and I thought it was interesting also, while you were doing the petitions and everything, that there were actually 2 victims that were behind the clemency.
Well, one thing
that's
true. Difficult, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. But one thing that was difficult during the filming is, a lot of their victims, this is 91, and there was no social media really, so it was hard to track people down. But through Facebook and social media, I was able to track down 2. And they were both interviewed in the film, and then both of them signed petitions for his release as well through change.org. Yeah, and actually, recently when I posted the update, there was a woman who posted something on Facebook about how her dad was traumatized by these guys, and I said to her, they didn't understand what trauma was until they got incarcerated. And but then they understood, and I said, I'm sorry for your father's, the trauma. And he had recently passed. And I went back and forth with her a little bit. And she said, I changed my mind. You're not your own worst moments. I've had my own worst moments too. Where she had spent some time incarcerated. And she said, I'll sign the petition. And she did the online, the one recent before his. So those people I think are the most powerful. You can preach to the choir and but to change people's mind, I think if you can do that, it's pretty awesome. So.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for the documentary. Thank you so much for keeping in touch with them. I've done a lot of positive things with everybody else who has been out, and we definitely thank you for everything that you've done.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
How are you doing, Richard?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So you've been out now for 10 years, is that correct?
11.
11. From your experience with being incarcerated, in what ways? Sorry.
There's a lag.
I see.
Okay. Can you repeat the question? Because there was a lag in between.
Yeah. Definitely. So with you being out now 11 years, which way do you think that, with you being out in society and everything, you can help Frankie readjust?
I think in the most important way is helping him navigate the mental and emotional transition that he'll go through, returning to society. I remember when I first came home, I had a lot of struggles with feeling guilty about the people I left behind and feeling guilty about how much time I did and your family coming to help you. And I think I can help him understand and transition better when dealing with these emotional issues that he'll go through, and let him know that it's normal. It's not something that he, should stress out about or anything like that. And also, I think I can help him navigate through the transition of employment. And me and him, we stay in touch, implementing the ideas that he want to do, the direction he want to go when he get out, help him avoid some of the pitfalls I ran into, and things of that nature. So I think having me out prior to him will help him transition better, just like Donovan helped me when I came home. He helped me transition. He picked me up from the halfway house, and he, took me around the neighborhood, let me know who's who, where I go to get services from, reentry services and stuff like that. So I could do pretty much the same for him.
Okay. And you said that you keep in touch with him. What's your relationship like? How often do you talk with him?
That's my guy, man. I speak with Frankie at least 2-3 times a week. So it's strange that he and I didn't see eye to eye when we were free, when coming up, and now we the best of friends. Like I take a lot of my personal problems and I discuss them with him, and stuff like that, because it helps in two ways. It helps me, but it also helps him because sometimes he likes to live vicariously through me. Sometimes he'll call, be like, man, just tell me about your problems, what you going through. I can do what I'm doing here. I can handle this. I want to know what's happening outside. So by process of me just telling him my life, we then got close, and he knows some of my secrets, a lot of my secrets. So yeah, that's my guy.
Right.
So what would
okay,
you?
And then I guess.
What type of advice would you give someone else right now who's going through the same thing as y'all have?
You mean transitioning, coming home? I think the most important advice I would give to a person coming home is to be very, very, unless you got children, be very, very selfish. If you don't have children, then be selfish. Put yourself first. Do what's best for you before you do something for anybody else. Like I came home with this idea of, coming to help put my family back together and all this stuff. And I got all this pressure to, to be there for people, and it caused me a lot of stress. So I would say be very selfish. Whatever it is that you sat on your bunk thinking about doing and implementing when you came home, do that. Listen, be open for advice, but at the same time, do what's best for you. And if you got children, do what's best for your children. Put you and them first, because the people you left out here, they figured it out for all them years that you were gone. They're not going to fall apart now that you're here. So, you know, I would advise them not to put like unnecessary pressure on yourself to perform for the people you left in the street, unless it was children.
Excellent advice. Excellent advice. More questions, too?
Yeah, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. Yeah, just
So
my last question for him was, so you're a prime example of somebody who's been formerly incarcerated that's excelling. Do you so obviously you do believe that he should be afforded the same freedom and a second chance?
Yeah, of course, man. Like Frankie and I grew up together once I came home, because when I was locked up, he was in a different institution and we didn't have any real contact together. So my last 11 years of transitioning in society and like growing up all over, we did it together. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, I watched him grow. I watched him transform into a better person just over the years, and how he looks at life and the things he wants to do. And you know, I can remember when I first came home, it was just about making it through, and now it's like making it better. What can I do to better other people's lives when I get out? You know, like his whole mentality is completely different than what it was 10 years ago. So can you imagine how different it is when he first got locked up? So I think just based upon our interactions and talking with him and growing up with him over these last 11 years, he deserves a second chance. He's not the same person he was 30 years ago. He's not the same person he was 10 years ago. And that's just from me and him constantly interacting, and I can see the difference in him mentally and spiritually and emotionally, you know. I was there, you know, not physically there when his mother passed, and how he handled that situation. He handled it really well. And I've been inside with people who've had a parent die and they fall apart. They end up on medication. They end up, for lack of a better word, you know, losing their mind. It was too much for them to handle. And, you know, I was there when he handled the loss of his mom, and he handled it as well as any person in free society could handle it. So like I said, I watched him grow up in prison while I'm out here, and I'm a firm believer that if given a second chance, he will not only excel, but he will make a difference in a lot of people's lives.
I agree.
Thank you so much for your input.
Thank you. So we have Twyla here, his sister. Hi, Twyla. How you doing?
Can you all hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Yes, I can. I have my earbuds in because originally I couldn't hear you, so I had to disconnect, but I'm glad you can hear me.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hi. And I just wanted everyone to know that we also had Lisa Rogers L from Mayat TV in the DMV join us. Thank you. Thank you. Can't hear you. Is she talking? We can't hear you. Oh, she's muted.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Nice to see you again, Twyla.
Nice to see you too.
Peace and love to Teresa. And
peace and love.
I'm trying to see. I don't have my glasses on.
So we're gonna talk to Twyla real fast. Hi.
And the young man.
Richard.
Hi, Richard.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again.
You too.
So Twyla, I think that you have the more personal. Can you
Can you hear me? Lisa?
Yes.
I think she froze.
Yes.
Okay.
Violet froze. She froze.
There she is.
So
I can hear
today Frankie actually filed for clemency. Do you have a little bit of input on that process? And
Me? Not really. But I would think that once it's filed, that somebody, of course, his lawyer, will follow up, and I think that other people should flood the phone lines. I mean, you're in Ohio, Governor.
I have some
Governor,
information.
yeah.
Like
one.
I know
you
the
have-
process of how clemency works in Ohio.
Okay.
Okay.
So the lawyer, so his lawyer or himself files a clemency with the adult parole authorities, and they review his application and make a recommendation. Well, first they make a recommendation whether they want to have a hearing on the application if they feel that they need more information or he's a strong candidate for clemency. They'll order a hearing, and at the hearing, his lawyer can be there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2 members, from his family or 2 members who want to speak up on his behalf can attend the hearing. And then after they get all the information after the hearing and they consider all the information in the application, including the hearing, they make a recommendation to the governor for clemency or against it. And then it's up to him to decide whether, he's going to grant him clemency. He can go with their recommendation and grant it if they recommend it, or he can go against it and not recommend it, even if they feel he wants to. The opposite, so he can say no and he can say yeah. But one more thing, like Lisa was saying, I think everybody should go to the clemency. I'll put it up on my Facebook page once again. There's a site on ohio.gov that you can go through and send a message to the parole board about people coming up for parole. You can send a message through there that you support the release of this person, and I'll put this link up and instructions on how to go about, like Lisa said, flooding the parole board. That goes directly to the parole board, and once it goes to the parole board, they make their recommendation. They'll let us know what they, that they got the application has been filed, and then it'll go to the governor, and then we can get on the phones, like Lisa said.
Richard, can I just say a quick thing? Richard, do you know if all the people who filled that out before, when we did that push a month or so ago, if those are still active, do they see those?
Yeah, they see all of them. Because when I told them to fill it
officially, okay, right.
Yeah, when I told him to fill it out, I told him to fill out that he's applying for clemency, so they'll know that the application is about to come. But I'm gonna tell those same people to, go ahead and fill it out again, even if you filled it out there, fill it out one more time, send it through one more time, so they can see the level of support he has for his release.
How many people are on the parole board?
The clemency board, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I think on the parole board, I think there's, I think there's 8 on the parole board. I'm not sure though.
Oh, there's a total of 8.
That's who.
Can you put that link in the chat?
It's going through the parole board.
Can you put that link in the chat, Richard? So folks here are asking if they can, how do they sign? So,
okay,
if we can get that here, would be great.
Okay.
One last question before I get to Twyla is simply one thing that played a big role in this amount of time, this 228 to 528, is how they ran it consecutive versus concurrent. Can somebody touch on that?
Twyla?
No, I mean, we wish we knew. It was a decision of the judge to run it that way, and that as a result, that's what we were stuck with.
Right. So for people who aren't familiar, they could run it together where he didn't get any more time than 10 to 25. So instead of it being the 10 to 25 for all of them, they ran it back to back to back to back to back. which is how he got to such a high number. So I just wanted to touch on that too.
Oh,
Sure.
I can speak on that again too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so statutorily, the Ohio legislator decides, penalties and how to apply the penalties. And in our case, in 1991, there was this gun specification law that might still be in the play now, that for every crime you use a gun with, you get a mandatory 3 years that has to be ran separately from your sentence and any other mandatory sentence that you get. And because the number of robberies we did, it made the number of gun specifications we were sentenced to separately from our sentence. So like in my case, I had 3 gun specifications. So I had 3 9-year three 3-year sentences that I had to do, a total of 9 years mandatory no good time before I started the sentence of the 10 to 25. Now, that's mandatory. The judge had to do that. That was out of his hands. Now, in terms of the sentencing for the robberies and the kidnaps, which is a 5 to 25, the judge it was at his discretion to sentence him to either a 5-year to 25 or 6, 7, 8, up to 10 years to 25 on the robberies and the kidnappings. And he could have ran that concurrent, but he chose of his own volition, for whatever reason, he chose to run it consecutive, which gave him, the sentence, he got now to 225 years. So he did have the discretion to run his sentence all concurrent, but consecutive, separate from the gun specification. So he would have had to do, I think he ended up with 9 gun specs, so that's 27 years. He would have had to do those 27 years. And the minimum, if he gave him the minimum, which is a 5 to 25, and ran it all concurrent, he'd have did another 2. And he would have been at the parole board now had the judge been lenient. He would have been on his way to the parole board, but the judge, for what I and Frankie's pops believe for very vindictive reasons, he didn't like Frankie's outbursts in the court, and so he gave him the max. And it was that get tough on crime stuff too. So election year,
91.
But no one was injured. You have
physically,
to have
no
an injury. There were no injuries.
No physical injuries.
No injuries. No one was hurt. No one was killed, at least physically. And I believe that when we've talked to Frankie a couple times, he said, everything I did, I'm so sorry for what I did. He's very, very remorseful. You can't go and take back, all of these years, the 31 years that he's been sitting in prison and in jail. You can't get that time back. But one of the things that science has already proven, and you hear people saying this, but now I kind of understand it. Your brain doesn't fully, completely form and mature until you're age 25. They created these situations when they were like, 18, 19 years? Y'all was 18, 19 years old? Y'all did exactly what funny, crazy teenagers do, calculated. Don't get me wrong, calculated. But you were not mature enough at that time. But what I do like what Frankie says is, I'm supposed to serve some time in prison. I'm supposed to be here. He's not saying I'm not supposed to be here. But what he's saying is no one was killed, no one was hurt. I'm the one that picked up the phone and called the police as well. And said, call the police and say somebody's here or someone is there. At what point do they understand that he wasn't trying to harm anyone? At what point? Because he was a teenager. Mature adults don't pick up a phone and say, hey, you got somebody in the fridge, go get him out. I just robbed the store. No, they don't, and they haven't even stopped to look at that. And that's what we would like. But with a clemency, we're hoping that, that the board can see how much he has grown. And Twyla, does Frankie have a plan of action? Like, I know he has a supportive family to come home to. 30 years is a very long time. 31 years to be in prison. My loved one has been in prison for 31 years. And I promise you, technology within itself is a challenge, just considering when he gets out. So with Frankie, they're going to be looking at housing arrangement, the impact that it's had on his family. Does he have employment? These are the questions that we need to be able to speak on for him to be released for clemency, because we need to make sure that they understand he's ready. He's beyond ready. He's ready.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for such a platform to be able to bring my brother's story, the story that we've been living for going on 31 years now. And I just appreciate the opportunity and the platform to speak. It's things like this that allow us to bring humanity to Frankie. He is my brother. But he is somebody's son. He is somebody's uncle. He is somebody's brother. He is somebody's cousin. He is somebody's friend. And he does have family that have been waiting on him all this time. And he made a mistake at a young age. And he has grown. He's not the same person that he was over 30 years ago. And so though we recognize and understand that no one was physically injured and nobody was hurt, we understand that there were, people that did have a traumatic experience, but in lieu of all of that, those that were directly affected are supporting Frankie to be released. And he deserves a second chance. Everybody makes mistakes. I think about things that I've done at 18 or 19 years old, and was given another opportunity for people to see that I was different. And so Frankie, throughout his sentence, he's done as much as he could in terms of his sentencing. They only allowed him to do so much in the prison to basically rehabilitate and reform himself, but he's done very well in terms of being a mentor to the young men that come in and being that support person to them. And essentially when he gets home, that's his goal, that's his life. That's one of the things that he aspires to do, is to deter other young men from heading down that path and making that detour. And he definitely wants to be that spokesperson. And he can, over the years, I have watched him transform, and I've watched him become the person that he is. And I'm just looking forward to him being able to not only just say it in word, but to actually say it, to put it into practice. It is not until he gets home that he'll be able to do such things. But I'm also appreciative of Roderick and his comments, in terms of how to handle himself and what he needs to do. It was very good advice. And so he has great support. As I say, his family has been waiting on him. Lots of entrepreneurs in our family that are ready to help him gain employment. And also he'll have a place to stay, many places to stay. He'll actually have to choose, where would you like to stay?
Right.
Yeah.
So we realize that this has been a long journey for your family, and you guys have filed several motions over the years. Today is the day that clemency is filed. I'm just wondering, just how you guys are feeling today with this motion.
Well, I tell you, it's bittersweet. We started out with it was just my mom and my dad and just me and my sister. And, over 30 years, she and I both gained husbands and children and now grandkids. And we lost my mom last year. And so we're a man down. However, we're still growing and we're still waiting. And to know that clemency was filed today there is a moment of satisfaction, but it is bittersweet. nevertheless, we still anticipate that Frankie is going to walk out that door. We still believe it.
We do too.
We filed several times before, and I'm not saying that we didn't believe it then. We believed it then, and there's no less urgency. We still believe it. We're still waiting on it.
Thank you, Twyla.
Twyla, I have a question. You said
Sure.
you filed before. What did you file before? Was it just motions? It wasn't because how many times are you allowed to file for clemency?
Well, we filed for clemency twice already.
Oh, okay.
You can file every 2 years.
You can file every 2 years.
None with this governor though, correct?
None with this particular governor.
So is this governor new?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we also filed a motion for judicial release with the court too. Just prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he went through the gauntlet of the appeals and trying to gain release through the court system too. So this is probably like the fourth time we tried to do something to get him released early.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you.
It certainly has not been because we haven't tried.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like it's been a lot done. He said probation, the years, the resentencing. He's tried everything. So a clemency is definitely, we pray for God's favor over the situation, and trust and believe for that as well right now.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And so I thank every single one of y'all, though. I know this is a touchy situation. Every single person here is, extremely valuable, not just to Frankie, but to everyone, I thank you. I thank you, Richard Pucci, Roderick. Thank you. I had to say it, because I've been hearing his name around town. I'm like, I ain't never met him, but now I have.
Right.
Yeah. Are there any questions? We know we have people looking in. Are there any questions, or do you guys have any questions for us?
I do want to, shout y'all out by any means for this platform, like Twyla did. It means a lot to Frankie, his family. That like it's over the years, man. He would always say, "Man, we need some fresh legs. We need a group of people that's gonna go out and campaign for me, man. That's gonna really advocate and do whatever is necessary to help, bring awareness to his situation, and by any means have stepped up and, y'all been doing whatever it is y'all can do for him. So I want to, thank y'all and shout y'all out in y'all organization. Let me know how I can help in any shape, form, or fashion with already, all the stuff I'm already doing to helping. But thank y'all.
Thank
you. Is this being recorded?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is this being recorded? Can we get this up
Yes,
on
this is being recorded.
social media after, if possible?
Absolutely.
Or something?
And it's also on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, Lisa, she's got Naj over there, but we call her Lisa.
Either name, just not bad names.
And y'all do know that's our cousin too. Yes.
The blood DNA is deep.
That's right. Naj, I grew up calling her Lisa.
Yes, ma'am.
She's in the DMV, and she has been 100% supportive, and so we want to thank you.
Absolutely.
100% thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And just to say, prison reform is really horrible all over the United States. It's not just in Ohio. I mean, the things that I see here are mind-blowing. And so it's going to take a village, and the village runs deep, and it takes committed people, no matter where we are. Our ancestors practiced telepathy very well, right? Our ancients. And so there's no place that love can be that we can't all collectively be there together, right, with our thoughts to get things done, right? So I'm happy to be a part of the panel tonight. I really am hopeful that Frankie will be released from Babylon. And so that's it's not a prayer, it's a command.
Yes.
Release him. And those are the words we have to say. Release him. We're not asking the clemency board. We're telling the clemency board to sign the paperwork to release Frankie Porter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Period. Not an exclamation point at the end.
Yes.
Period. Or how the younger generation.
Period.
Her, however they say it.
Period.
That person.
Say less, as Lisa said. As
Man,
Teresa
so-
said, say less.
Amen. Ashe.
Yes.
Amen.
All right. But we thank
Amen.
every single one of y'all again for coming on. Thank y'all. We appreciate you all.
One more thing, man. So everybody that's listening,
Women are ruling on the show tonight. Come on now.
y'all ruling everywhere for real. They just ain't really paying attention.
No, we're not. That's why things are crazy. But go ahead.
Yeah. So everybody listening, please go to the drcohio.gov website and fill out that form. And not only fill out the form, but if you know somebody that knows somebody that may even know the governor, that may even know somebody on the parole board, I wish we had their names so we could call them too. But share this, like this. Yeah, share this, like this, send it to anybody and everybody that you can see, because you never know who knows who and how it may impact somebody else and help him in his fight for freedom. So please share it, like it, and fill out that form on the DRC website.
Any last minutes, John Lucas?
No, just thank you. And I'll get all that information to me. I can get it up on the Cooler Bandits Facebook page.
Awesome sauce. Thank you.
I have one last question.
Yes.
Swyla.
Yes.
So the clemencies that were filed prior to this one, were they presented by lawyers, or all of them were by lawyers, correct?
No, this is the only one that will be presented by a lawyer.
Right. I think that this is going to be a little
This
bit
is
more
it.
powerful.
Hopefully, we haven't got a hearing from the parole board yet for the other two clemencies either. So hopefully this time going around.
I mean, when they don't see ASQ, right? A lot of times they don't even pay attention. It's a that's their click.
Right.
You know how it goes. So that's good to know, Twyla. Thank you.
Yep. It's every, timing is everything.
Yes, ma'am.
And, it's been a long time. It simply is time. And this platform was not even available in that time. So it's time, and it's going to happen.
Wow, that's deep.
Amen.
It's
That's
time.
what I want to hear. Demands. Tired, no more questions.
I agree.
Yep.
Well, thank y'all so
Thank
much.
Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank y'all.
And gentlemen,
We all excited, but we will be back here next Tuesday, same time, same platform. We're going to discuss in more detail consecutive versus current.
All right.
I expect to see at least a couple of y'all back here next week. Okay. Consecutive versus current, because I believe that's what Frankie is really, his big issue right now. So I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Love you too.
All right. Have a safe
Thanks,
holiday.
everybody.
All right.
Happy
Happy
holiday.
holidays, everyone.
Love you all.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Thanks again.
All right.
Happy holidays.